a lot of action in the very first hour and a half of trade so far, and it promises to be an exciting day going forward. So let's bring our focus. I'd like to trade today's settlement day a bit different from the other days, other trading days which we have, and I would urge you to do the same as well. Right. So let's take stock. 25,895. That's where the Nifty is 10:34 a.m. We are in the middle of the C period. 57,871 in the Bank Nifty, and we have a seller who is trying to exert control here in both the Nifty and the Bank Nifty over here. I have a Nifty futures chart on screen, but this chart is a futures chart and is for context. The real action is in the options market today, and settlement day. Our focus is on reading what the tape does, what the option market is doing, and we read the options in the option market when we start and trade on a day like today. So, for those of you who are very new to the room and been exposed to the work we do, I want to welcome you and want to welcome you with one simple message that here at Vtrender and the work we do at Vtrender, we do not try to predict markets. Nobody can. I've tried, I have failed, I have lost a lot of money predicting markets. So what I've done best next is to read what the market is doing at every single point in time, and that is the current moment. I don't read the past. I don't understand the future. I don't know what is going to happen. But what I do definitely know is to read data in the now, that is the present moment. And this is what we do over here at Vtrender. We read data as it appears on our screens. And a day like today, where the option market is the dominant force, and we know by the records which come to us that this is mostly a 40,000 crore to a 70,000 crore daily trading volume kind of a day. I want you to pause and reflect on those numbers. 40,000 crores, which in a matter of about 375 minutes, that's about 6 hours of trade, is a trade of about, say, about 8,000 to 10,000 crores per hour. That's the kind of volume which is coming into a day like today. So I treat a Tuesday very, very different from the way I would treat a Monday, a Thursday, a Wednesday, a Friday also. And it begins with knowing and being clear about the chart on screen. I'd just like to share a little bit about what I do. This day, Tuesday, I like to start my day a little early than otherwise. I generally wake up 2 hours earlier than other days, do my stuff for 1 hour. And 1 hour before the market opens, I'm just staring at my screen get that focus going for the day. This is a day which in the past has given me about 7 times to about 8 times the returns I would get in a normal day. So I treat it as special, and I would urge all of you to treat this day as a different kind of a day. Give it a special treatment, and you'll see the kind of results which compound for you because you treat it as different. So back to where the market is. We'll talk a lot more as we go along in these audio sessions, but I want to bring the focus back to where we are in the market today. And I'm going to be focusing on the Nifty futures. And I know some of you trade the Bank Nifty also and the Nifty also. Personally, for me, I feel on a day like today, which has got a lot of data coming in, focusing on one instrument and getting good at that one instrument is what has made the difference for me. And I think it could make the difference for you also. So choose either the Nifty or the Bank Nifty, unless they are not moving at all and you've got big trade opportunities. You can shift between them, but choose one instrument and get good at it. That is the way it has worked for me. So I've chosen the Nifty futures to work with. And early at the open, we had what we called an OAOR, which is an open auction in range as the market opened up in yesterday's value. Now, this is the open. Now, the open is not the same thing as a close, and the market needs to be watched when it goes up above value, and when it comes down under value. Those are our trading opportunities. When it's inside value, like it was in the first 30 minutes of trade, you can be careful. You can be a little bit casual about how the market behaves. But we need your best focus when the market starts trading above value or when it goes below value. This is sacrosanct, non-negotiable. You need to respect the market when it moves away from value. So I was watching this zone 26050. We had a call open early in the morning. That was the 25800 CE. And the reason to get into that 25800 CE very early on was simply because we opened just below value and we started moving up, and hence I said 26050 test of value area high was needed, and we went to get that in the first period. But around over here, right at the very top, you can see that the supply was, that the demand was reducing, right? As the market broke up into this zone of 26070, they should have added more buy side volumes over here. But instead we got a little bit of supply on the 0.2727. This was telling us that we had to book out of those CEs and think that the market was not adding demand above value area high. So those of you who have gone through a trading library, you know already that buyers rule the area above value area high. But that's just a statement. You've got to see that statement with evidence. And where is the evidence? The evidence is always there in your order flow charts. Do you see buyers adding over here? No, you don't. Okay, and when you see that buyers are not adding above value area high, if you are into a CE, you book that CE and you come out of the market. Now, that was the long trade in the morning, and I'll just take you back to where that event was at 26040. Right around over here, that is an RS responsive seller that was up to get up. Things changed when this IS3 came in. This was at 951, and IS3 which comes in, or an IB3 which comes in the first 60 minutes of the day, are always signals we pay extra attention to. So this was activated 26047, 25986. Some of you highlighted this in the room. Very well done. But it gets activated only when this low is broken at 25986. You can see a lot of IS3s and IS5s and IS30s form, and you recognize them with your purple bars and your green bars, etc. But activation rules need to be taken into account. And what is the activation rule over here? You execute this below the low of this IS3. And when you execute it, you need to have a stop loss, which is the high of the IS bar. So this was a market moving event, right, for us. But more importantly, what happened was that 25960 started breaking. 25960 broke. This was the level which was holding yesterday, and when it broke, okay, this is the market which went lower. Now, the action always begins in the futures market, even though we pay attention to the options market. The action begins in the futures market and it spreads to the options market. And in the options market, what we saw was a shakeout of 26,000 PE, which was all these writers who were into short positions, they started feeling the heat. So when these zeros come in, that's a sign that there is pressure building up in the options market. These zeros in the middle of the bar are an inventory issue. They are telling you that some people want to exit out of the market very, very quickly. And that's when, okay, these zeros form in the middle of the bar. And we started seeing a decline in open interest, these red ones. Okay, the quad had gone green just before that. All these people had started booking through the zeros which came in, and that's the reason that there was a run on the 26,000 PE. This we did not trade. This we were using as a trade evidence to know that the 26,000 PE was coming underwater. What I want you guys to focus on is to read this clearly, focus on the zeros which come in, especially on a settlement day. Like over here, the zeros are people rushing out. So this was the lucky guys who got out early, smart money. They took out all of this right around here, 80, 85, and the zeros form, they become a kind of a support for the market for the very next leg. So we would see this activity play out many, many times on a settlement day, on options inventory day. And when you see these kind of zeros form, four rows, 5 rows in the order flow chart, that is your stop loss. You can keep a stop loss down over here as well. But this is something which will hold up. And if you get IB3s, etc., that's the time of it you get into that trade. So we took that 26,200 P because on a settlement day, I'd like to go with a lot of delta in my favor and capitalize on that move. So again, the same kind of signaling was there. These signals, when they show up to give you money. They give you profits for you to make good trades out of. So what is the understanding over here? Same thing. IB3 shows up, activates above the high of the IB3. Stop loss is low of the IB3 and you take trades. When two of them show up next to each other, 3 minutes apart, that's a very, very strong signal. Again, you activate it above 284, the stop loss is 241. Now, don't build these weird ideas in your head that you would put only a 20-point stop loss or you take a 30-point target and you would put 40-point stop loss. You know, those kind of preset mindsets, they do not work in the derivatives market. You've got to flow. You've got to read the tape where it is, and you cannot limit yourself with that kind of set methods of thinking. You've got to be fluid with what the process is telling you. The process is telling you the stop loss has to be the low of the bar. So you respect that process and you trade it, even though mentally you would say, I would want a 20-point stop loss and a 30-point stop loss, etc., etc. Those kind of thought processes are what limits you and limits your ability to make good profits in the market. So don't let it come in your way. The process is where we work with as traders. The story is in the order flow. We don't chase price. We interrogate data. We respect process and we execute ruthlessly. Whenever the IB3 IS3 shows up, it's a message for us to execute ruthlessly. Why? Because volume has voted. What kind of volume has voted? Volume with intent. Intent is what drives market and it creates the moves we see on screen. Right? Now, let's come back, because this is what is happening. We need to focus on what can happen. And we are done with the C period. So this broke lower below 25,960. Was expecting 25,857 and this low of 25,880 to show up. I didn't show a lot of conviction here, 25,903, and we moved out of that C period trade, which we took, for which we are holding puts with. But a new story begins if we start going below this 25,857 for now. Now, I'll take you through structure, and this is about what is anticipated for the rest of the day ahead. So what do we have right now from the open? We had an OAOR, open auction in range, which means the buyer and the seller were almost equal from the open. Then we saw that IS3 at 941, 951, I think it was. Now we are seeing a seller in control. Being in control is only half the message. They have to show more evidence of staying in control. So what we need to see now that the C period is over, we are into the D and the E periods, we need to see signs of more sellers come into the market. What are we going to be watching for? We're going to be watching for IS3 signals again in order flow to show that the seller is driving that intent. He's not just done one bit of selling and now stayed away. If he's aggressive, he will initiate now below this IS3, which is at 25,874. I would add a little bit of weight over here and put it at 25,856 to make sure that the seller is initiating below this POC. And that was gonna be our next trading signal. We take a short below 25,857 with a stop loss of IBL, which is around 25,901, and we expect the market to go down to about 25,740, which is this we talk over here. Right now, this is structure. What can happen today, because the market is in the options inventory settlement mode, the gamma has to be looked at, and this is the gamma exposure chart as of right now. The 26,000 PE was short gamma at the open, as you can see over here. It changed with that IS3, the intent which came in, and from the C period, it's gone long gamma. That's 26,000. Long gamma also happens because you seen some of that put, the short put unwinding. So they buy back and it creates that same buy gamma effect. What's happening at 25,900 is it's still short gamma. So that means the short open interest in puts is still holding out over here. More importantly, we are back to where it was yesterday, a market which has got double peaks. So this one and this one is a double peak formation. Now, what is a double peak formation? It is a market which is not decided on where it wants to be. So it could flash between these two points. So this is why I tell you that there is a lot of activity still left in the market in the coming few hours. It's not a decided flat kind of a market. It's long gamma at 26,000, short gamma at 25,900, which to me spells one word, and that word is opportunity. Opportunity as a buyer to capitalize on the market and not to go sleeping or go off into sleep mode over here. So this is the exposure chart as of right now, and there is a lot of promise left still in the day. So if you didn't get into that call in the morning, or you didn't get into that put in the morning, this is not a day where opportunities would not come your way. There's still a lot of opportunity and potential left in the day. The second thing which is happening right now is in this density chart, the convexity zone and the density, the orange one and the yellow one, they are not placed one below the other. So that's also a market which is not settled at the moment and not decided on the close. So if this peak and this peak align, they are in a straight line vertically, that's a market which is balancing, which is giving you a pin effect, and that would tell you that the market wants to settle down over here. So this along the density, along with that gamma exposure, different weeks here also telling you that the market is still seeing a lot of opportunity. And what I'm going to be doing is because the seller is in control, we're going to be watching for signs of an extension, which is that 25,876 zone breaking lower. Now, let's understand, what the rest of the market is doing, and I want to bring that attention to the 25,900 PE because that's the opportunity for us. So if you look at the traditional way, everybody looks at the open interest of the markets, etc. This is where it is. 26,000 CE is high, and 25,900 P is where the open interest is built up. So that's 25,900, 25,800. Now our market profile chart is already telling us that the seller is in control, and this 26,000 CE is max. They have already built this to decay to 20. So this is where it is. Now what I do is, instead of going in with OI split, I go into a volume split chart. And a volume split chart will tell you where the maximum volume of the market is. And this is a little bit more of a read for me in terms of where I expect the activity of the market to be concentrated at. So I choose plot type volume split, and I can now see that 25,900 PE has got very large volume, and 26,000 CE is got very large volume. Now, the minute I see this, I open up the order flow charts, and now I want to focus on what is happening at 25,900 PE. And you can put this into a 30-minute window because writers tend to look at the larger time frame. And this is what is being added from the open. So 25,900 PE is now around 70 rupees. Is now around 70 rupees, and about 1 lakh quantity of open interest was added at the open, right around here, out of which 40,000 has come out in the B period, which was 9:45 to 10:50. Another 25,000 has come out in the C period, which was 10:50 to 10:45. And now they're starting to build up again to get a dollar cost average over here. But one look at this screen tells you that most of this writing, 1,10,000 quantity, was written between 40 and 12:10, right? And it's currently at 72. So are they secure? Absolutely not. They are underwater, as we say. And if this starts going, I'll give you one level of 80 to look at. If this starts going above 80, there's going to be blood on the streets. These guys will be forced to cover positions, and we could get another market moving event out over here. So just a little bit more perspective. Yesterday, as the market was going up, all of them were writing around here in this 80 zone, 70, 80. And all of these writers, not just today's writers, in fact, yesterday's writers could also come under pressure. So this is what you need to be focusing on. It's at about 74. The minute it starts going up above 80, yesterday's writers and today's first 30-minute writers come under pressure. And in order flow, we will be looking for signs of IS3 forming to confirm that the seller wants to execute lower. So this is the plan being made, and we'll see if this executes and puts out a message for us as we go down through the rest of the day. Right? So that's a 3-minute chart open, 25,900 PE. Keep looking for zeros on this chart. Keep looking for IB3 signals in both the futures and the options market, and you will be getting those results for yourself. I'll pause here. I'll just take a few more questions. Sanjay, why did we go for 25,800 CE when Wallets was negative? When 25,800 CE was chosen, Wallets was positive. It was not negative. 25,800 CE was chosen in the morning. Wallets was positive around 9:30. We exited around 9:40, and that's the time Wallets changed. So just be careful about how we are using data. Data keeps changing at the rate of 6,000 crores per hour. I don't live in the past, guys. I live in the current. And something which was relevant at 9:50, 9:30 is not relevant at 11 a.m. because 16,000 to 20,000 crores worth of position has moved in the last 2 hours. So one common mistake which a lot of traders do is they go by yesterday's data and they go by what happened 1 month back and 1 year back. That is a very redundant way of looking at markets. It does not work anymore. You have to stay current. You have to live in the now. You have to look at what is happening in the current moment, because the past is already in price and it's completely priced in, as we say. And the current information is what is moving markets. Mohan, I have observed POCs despite. So the POCs which we have are based on tick data, point of control. I know what you're trying to say. So the POC is calculated based on the lowest ticks, which is at 0.5. This number at 25,891 would be replicated whenever we change the PPR also. So these numbers around it may look bigger, but since this is completely tick based, you would find the most correct way of looking at POC numbers, etc., would be on a 0.5 level chart. So here you get 44, which is the highest number around here, and 10 and 44, that's 54. You will not get 54 anywhere else on the chart, right? So I hope that answers your question. Move to a 0.5 PPR and it's based on that 0.55 by PPR, and that is your POC calculations. Don't go into a lot of the methods of how this is arrived at and how this is calculated. Take my word, we've done this through a large number of years, and everything is pin and proper and precise. Our jobs over here are to interpret the data, not to question the data. Volume is what votes, and volume is what speaks and tells us what it needs to be done, what needs to be done. We are not here to be heroes. We are here to be consistent, to protect capital, to press edges, and to pass on noise. And that's where the focus comes in. PPR, yeah, price per row. So depends on the settings which are used. I use PPR just to get a better visualization of what is happening. But all the data is calculated on a PPR of 0.5. If I put a 0.5 on screen, because of the way the market moves, I will not be having a lot of bars show up on screen. So this is just visualization, but we made it in such a way that you could be seeing the absolute clear data tick by tick as it shows up in an order flow chart, right? So I hope everyone is on board about what we are going to be doing next. B is putting a lower low, and we've made it to the almost to that VPOC 25,857. I want to see some signs of IS3 show up, initiative selling show up below this 25,857, which is a sign of the market wanting to go further down by about 100 points. There is opportunity in the tape today. Don't think the tape is dead yet. It can go short gamma. The market is all about probabilities, and I'm not going to say what can happen for sure by about 3:30. I'm nobody to guess what the market is going to do, even 20 minutes from now, let alone 3:30. We are not here to do any kind of guessworks. We are here to follow data, follow what is happening in the moment, and to see if there is an opportunity to extract some points of that data which is coming through for us, right? So just to summarize, seller in control. We're looking for signs of the seller initiating now below 25,857. We'll be looking for IS3 signals in the Nifty futures order flow chart. We'll be looking for that 25,900 PE. I would urge you to keep this big instrument. It is for me for today, 25,900 PE. Keep an order flow chart on screens. And the minute it starts going above 80 and puts in some kind of an IB3 in this future or some zeros, etc., that is our cue that the market wants to go lower from here, right? So keep that process up. Just one final note before I wind up. You read and I read, and we sign up every single morning on our trading screens that 94% of people lose money. That is a fact. I just want to say one thing, which I've already said to everybody else in VMR, VLD, that 94% of people don't lose money. They lose focus. They lose the reason why they have chosen to grow their trading accounts or their trading capital. I don't want any of you to lose focus. We have to stay consistent. We have to stay profitable. And the only way we are going to be doing that as a unit, as a community, is we trade together and we keep the focus going. That's why we have each other. So just keep looking into your charts. Some of you point out an IB3, IS3 here, there. Help us all to focus on what is happening. And all kind of data is useful for us on a trading day. So if you see something which is odd, which is not clear, speak out about it. Help everyone keep the focus. If we keep the focus, we will keep living. Right? Signing off for now. I'll switch it back to the flow charts.